Alright, here we go. New day, no beard. It's always a strange one, but I figured it was getting a little bushy. I looked slightly homeless in yesterday's video, but it's okay. It's gone now. But it'll be back within a week. It's gotten monstrous over the recent years. But again, plan for today's legs. I think it's hamstrings. I did do quads with my cousin in California. We did some explosive hack squats. So I had him to do more like athletic training. I had him do a lot of like higher volume, but more like explosive reps. So kind of like, control it on the way down and then try to get up as quickly as you can on that squat. So slow on the what is it, the eccentric, and then extremely quick on the concentric. Yeah, there we go. That's the scientific terminology. But yeah, playing for today's hamstrings, I'm thinking RDLs, and then we talked about doing the seated and the laying down leg curl, and then of course I think I'm just gonna throw on some leg extension on the end. Maybe not even. I don't even know if it's quite necessary, but I think we're going to, just to do a little bit of extra volume. I don't watch many fitness influencers in general. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of what fitness social media has to say nowadays, just because I feel like the waters have been muddied by a lot of maybe not misinformation, but more so due to being misinformed. And here's what I mean by this. I like to watch only a couple of people, and one of the ones I do recommend is TNF, T Nutrition Fitness something. I don't know what it stands for, but TNF, great guy. I saw a video of him talking about frequency of exercise, and also a call out to like science-based lifters in general. And in the call out, he was talking about a lot of people like to say, bro, this workout is terrible, it is horrible, but you look stupid when somebody comes out and says, oh, I did, that's exactly what I did, and they achieved good results with it. So there's that, number one. Number two, consistency and frequency of exercise. That's a whole other topic, but I want to hit the first topic first. So first of all, why is it that some people can do horrible workouts and still achieve results? A lot of science-based lifters frame the whole argument the wrong way when discussing optimizing exercises. A lot of the time, it's not that certain exercises or workouts don't work. As long as you're working out and pushing it, and you're doing something that involves a muscle contraction, you're going to get growth. Like it is what it is, or more, depending on how much stimulus. But a stimulus is still a stimulus at the end of the day, and I think that's been overlooked a lot. Like people like to act like, oh, if you're not doing this specific lat pull down, you're not going to make gains on your lats or your back. That's wholly untrue. Now, you might not make as much gains if you're doing a certain type of lat pull down. It might take you longer, but that doesn't mean it won't work. And that goes for a lot of exercises, even suboptimal exercises. Like if you have a guy not doing any like deep stretch, only doing like a very specific type of workout, he's still going to build the chest just a lot slower. Like let's say they're doing only bench press, but they're not doing any incline, and that's it. Like they're not doing any other movements, no cable flies, nothing. Now that isn't quite optimal, but over time, it might take longer. But the dude is still going to build a pretty nice chest if he's pushing it hard and progressively overloading. So there you have it. So the waters have been muddied. It's not that certain workouts are useless. Sure, some are. There's a lot of like fitness myths out there. But most things do work. The main point is, if you want to be more efficient, more effective, there are certain exercises and certain things you can do to optimize your gains. Not like the only way to get gains, to optimize your gains. And I think a lot of the time that's been overlooked, if that makes sense. And then he also talked about a little bit of misconceptions with consistency and frequency of exercise. A lot of people are under the misconception that, how should I put this? You know what? Let me rephrase. And I'll say it like this. Your muscles are never just in a state of like nothing. There's always something going on. And what do I mean by that? Well, they're either growing or they're shrinking, and there's no in between. And he discussed, okay, so frequency is being overlooked in general, and it's being overshadowed by like random exercise discussions and, oh, what should you be doing as a certain exercise to optimize your gains, when in reality frequency is the primary determining factor, the most important variable when considering muscular growth. So there's that. And why is that? Well, let's look at the question very basically. Why don't you go lift for like one time in the entire year? Why? Well, it's not enough stimulus to maintain muscular growth. Sure, you'll have the workout, you'll have a little bit of muscle growth after that. I mean, you're not going to notice it, but by the end of the year, what nothing's changed. If that's the only workout you do the whole year, you're not going to see nothing. Same thing goes for 2 workouts in one whole year, then 3, then 4. But if you work up, you're going to reach a certain point where you're doing the workouts and the amount of stimulus that you're giving your muscles is going to be greater than the amount of atrophy you're experiencing when your muscles are not stimulated / recovering, building from the exercise. Let's not get into semantics, but you get the idea. So the point being, frequency is the most important factor when it comes to building muscle. And that's why a lot of the time I say the intensity of the workout doesn't always have to be there. It's important, sure, but it doesn't have to be there all the time. And for some people who, quite frankly, aren't able to like push it intensely at all, I mean, let's say like maybe older people who have a hard time like going to the next level when it comes to pushing exercises, you'll still see them make good fitness progress if they just keep consistent. And at the end of the day, that this is true for everything, whether it's studying for an exam or working towards a career. A lot of the time, showing up consistently and constantly is going to do more for you than going really hard at something or trying really hard like 2 or 3 times. I mean, think about this in the frame of an exam. Say you're studying for a chemistry exam, organic chemistry. That's one that's tough for a lot of people. Who do you think is going to do better? The guy that is consistently studying an hour every day after lecture, and when the exam comes, well, he's not doing anything differently. He studies for 2 hours the day before the exam. Or the dude that isn't really studying much throughout the course of the exam, or like the course of the exam content over those like 4 weeks, let's say, and only crams all the information the day before the quiz. So he's only studying, let's say, 3 days total, and then so like let's say there's a quiz every Friday and an exam on the 4th Friday. So he studies Thursday for like 6 hours before each quiz, crams all the information in 3 study sessions, and then right before the exam pulls like an all-nighter doing all the stuff. Now, barring the idea and forgetting about like recovery and fatigue buildup, the dude who only went 4 times is honestly not going to be able to retain as much information and not know it as well as the dude that was consistently studying an hour every day after lecture, because it's more manageable. The same thing happens with your muscles. There's only so much you can do in one day at the gym. There's only so much fatigue and like stimulus that you can take at one time without being so fatigued that you won't be able to do the muscle again. We can get into a discussion again about, oh, what if I go so hard I only have to go once a week? Don't worry about that. For the most part, most people aren't going that hard. But I think you can kind of see the picture I'm painting here. So a lot of the time, I wouldn't worry so much about all these details of, oh my goodness, like what specific exercise should I do, or like what is this the most optimal, or how can I optimize yada yada yada. I wouldn't worry about that because that isn't most people's issue, and that isn't what most people need to be focused on. The majority of people out there just need to worry about the consistency of getting in the gym. And if you're able to get on a schedule where you're in there consistently, then you're going to be able to get the consistent stimulus, a consistent frequency of stimulus, enough to drive growth. And that's the basic argument at the end of the day. So don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple, and it's a lot easier that way to think about things in a more general scope rather than getting too worried about the details. There's a plague of misconstruing scientific results now as well in like the online fitness community, and you see a lot of people like this. I'm not saying specific names because I don't have anyone specific in mind right now, but you'll see these type of people all the time spitting out medical and physiological jargon, anatomical jargon, about certain studies where they're pretty much just saying words that most people, quite frankly, who don't have a biology master's or PhD will not understand, or if they're not studying that stuff, won't understand. And they're talking about these things, and they're looking at these like one-off studies where the results are honestly a little sketchy, especially when considering the methods of examination and data collection. I don't know. Uh, People like it's getting overcomplicated, and I don't think it has to be hard. The gym has never been something that has been really that cerebral. You know, I feel like it's more than an intelligence type of thing. It's always been more of an effort and discipline kind of thing. And I think that's what we need to go back to, thinking more about the discipline side of things. Because the discipline is going to make a bigger difference at the end of the day than the guy who's talking about, oh, I'm going to go in like 2 times and do all the optimal lifts this week. I don't know, dude. I mean, you see this with all the champions. I mean, sure, whatever sport you want to look at, fighting, what and whatnot, the greatest are always the most disciplined and the most consistent with what they do. And it doesn't really matter what they do, and it doesn't really matter what tools you give them. These are the type of people that are going to be great regardless. If you think about it, LeBron James, Tom Brady, Khabib Nurmagomedov in boxing, or sorry, in the UFC. You'll see boxers like that too, I'm sure. I'm not a huge boxing fan, but you get the idea. At the end of the day, discipline is the biggest factor. So there you go. Anyways, speaking of discipline, we're going to discipline ourselves into legs today because you know we don't like doing legs. Well, I love doing legs, but it's never a fun time. Alrighty. I'm going to get in there and do this. RDLs will go. I'm going to try doing them second today. I'm going to do my hamstring curls first, and then we're going to hop on RDLs afterwards. And then see how that feels. I'm just feeling myself today. We'll see what happens, but there we go. Stay disciplined. Let's get in there. Let's get our lift in. Cardio plan for today is tennis in the evening, so might be a little tough after leg day, but at least we're doing hamstrings, so shouldn't be too crazy. Usually after quads, I'm like so cooked beyond measure. I like can't even do cardio, but I think after hamstrings we'll be okay. And I'm planning to take it a little easier today. I don't want to go to like level 4, if you get what I mean. But anyways, let's go. Peace. Okay, here we go. Standing on the plate again today. Get a little bit extra range of motion. Let's do this. Okay. Yeah. We'll do 2 more. Now, on RDL specifically, I think it's really important to go slow because a lot of the time what I see is a lot of momentum being used, and the faster you go on these, you'll tend to be swinging more with your back. So about a 3-second rep is usually a good baseline, and you're also going to end up feeling it more in your hamstrings. Just stay lean forward, and otherwise it's not too difficult. If you're feeling it in your lower back, you're probably doing it wrong. I mean, you should feel it a little bit, but if it's hurting, you're doing something off. But anyways, let's do one more hard one here, and then we'll see if we're going to drop. Oh, I'm really feeling these. Okay. Whew. Okay, we'll do one more. I went super slow on the warm-up this time before getting to the 2 plates, so I'm feeling it well. The better your warm-ups are on the movements, the more you're going to feel the muscle, the more effective your muscles are going to be because they're properly warm. Yeah, one more of these and we'll move on to curls. Okay, here we go. Hopefully grip doesn't stop us here. If it does stop me a bit early, I think I'm going to do a drop set. Okay, aiming for like 8 reps. We didn't get it last time, but at least we got the eccentric. Okay. And I really focus on hinging through the hips. Okay, grip is letting up. I'm gonna mix. Okay. Oh, yeah, those were nice. Okay, that's enough here. Let's get the curls. Okay. Now, no warm up needed here. Hamstrings are pretty warm. I'm gonna hop into 2 sets on here, and then we'll see what's open afterwards, and we'll choose from there. But we're gonna push it pretty hard. I'll do this one, I'm thinking around 10 reps, pretty hard. But I'm gonna do the next one to failure for my second set. And don't get it twisted. The warm up happened off camera before the RDLs, so always warm up the muscle. Okay, let's do this. Okay, something with the settings off. All right, let's readjust for the last set. Well, we're not really quite sure what the issue was with the setting last time. I'm moving this around and it's just feeling off. I think this type of leg curl machine just isn't my bread and butter. I don't know if you know the differences, but there's certain ones where it kind of feels like you're swaying a bit. I don't know how to explain it. And there's others where it just feels like the tension is different throughout the course of the rep. And on this one, I feel like the tension is a little uneven. So it just feels weird. When I was in California, I had a leg curl that I liked. It was, I don't know, I could just feel the tension the whole way through. But here, coming back to it, it just doesn't feel quite as stable. So I think what I'll do instead is drop the weight a bit and do some, well, you know what, no, we're going to keep it the same. And we're just going to do some hard reps. Well, no, it's a little dropped. We'll do some hard reps, but I'm gonna try to control the eccentric a little bit more and just see what that does. But whatever. Let's just go hard one more time here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's enough here. Let's wipe this down and move on. Now, it's sad to say this, wiping down equipment is a lost art. These here are like my curse technique. I mean, I feel like everybody should have one, but hey, It is what it is. Always wipe down your equipment, especially if you're leaving sweat everywhere, and even if you aren't, just be clean. But anyways, we're here on the laying down one. Don't get any funny ideas with this angle. But pick a moderate weight here, and I'll just crank out some reps and we'll finish out. It's been a solid minute and a half. Setting just happens to be good. Let's do this. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. I'll drop the weight. We'll do one more and move on to our accessories. Okay, one more here. I'm actually quite disappointed in myself. I almost forgot about quads. So we're going to do quads immediately after this. Then we'll do accessories, and then we'll leave. Okay. Okay. All right, hamstrings have had it. I think we've reached a good stopping point. Let's move on to some quads. And it's been about 30 seconds. Wipe down and just move over. I think we'll head straight into this one. No reason to take any unnecessary rest. I'll do a few warm-up reps here, and then we'll just go right into it and finish. Not much needed. I'm going to go double-legged, so even less reason to take a lot of rest. I won't go all the way back today, just to mitigate some of that shearing effect on the knee. Take a bit of a break off that, but let's do this. Okay. All right, I think we're ready. Let's max out that weight. There we go. Okay. Alrighty, two more, and we'll do accessories. Okay, two more good ones here. Let's do this. Okay. Yeah, one more. Okay. Let's make the best of this last one. All right. Really gonna focus on the control here. Let's stay braced. Oh my god. Okay. That was an ungodly pump. Okay, that's enough here. Normally I would drop set that, but Let's save some juice for leg day in a few days again. Okay, let's pop in some accessories and I'll see you in the car. Well, I'm an animal. I completely forgot to do triceps, and accessories were taken, and I have to meet somebody for lunch, unfortunately. So, business calls. It is what it is. A couple of small setbacks, but tomorrow I guess I'll have to throw on some, what is it? Adduction for the legs, and then we're gonna do triceps on top of my back day. So, it is what it is. But it's okay. We'll make do. It'll happen. It'll work. Anyways, so to build on a discussion of frequency. So while frequency is the most important factor, another important thing to discuss is oh my goodness, a lot of people turning out here. Other than how often you're going in, it's how much volume can your body handle per session. What's your I'm gonna call it this. What's your maximal frequency load? What is that? That's how many sets or reps, let's just say, you can do over the course of a workout, considering the amount of workouts you're doing per week for the muscle group. So what do I mean? Let's take leg days, because leg days are a pretty good muscle group to discuss the amount of volume you can take, because you get pretty freaking tired. Let's say the most you can take in one workout is 8 sets on quads, or you're going pretty hard. And let's say you're doing 2 leg days a week, where you're doing quads on both of them. For example, if the maximum amount you can do without just being totally blasted and you're not recovering by the next leg day is 8 sets, then there's your maximal frequency load. 8 sets of however much intensity you're doing on those sets. That's the most you can take if you're doing that much, or if you're doing 2 leg days and you're doing the same amount of quad movements on both. Now, how can you change that? Well, you can change that by changing the amount of quads you do on your second leg day, or you can do less leg days with more quad volume in each individual one. Because we're considering a fatigue buildup type of framework here. If you're only doing 1 leg day, a week, well, that seems like a little bit. But if you're doing Tom Platt's leg day, well, I'm sure you're going to be getting a lot more stimulus than the dude doing a regular leg day. Not to bash regular leg days. I'm a big fan of regular leg days, but a regular leg day doesn't require the same amount of recovery as the Tom Platt's leg day. Now, why did Tom Platt's leg day work, even though he was only doing leg day twice a month? Because it was once every 2 weeks, because it was so intense. Well, the stimulus was so much in that 1 leg day that, okay, a few days later, the muscle building is done, but the fatigue, it hasn't recovered yet. Your muscle still needs time to be ready to go again. So he physically could not go again and have a good leg day until 2 weeks had passed about. Because if he did, he would just be overworking the muscle past the point of an optimal stimulus, I guess. So you get what I mean. So that's why people can build crazy physiques on really any program, because at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with the program itself, but everything to do with the amount of volume / frequency of stimulus you're giving the muscle. So there you have it. You can make an upper lower split work if you're doing that 6 days a week, right? Upper lower, whatever, sprinkle in a rest day, however needed. You're going to be getting a lot of frequency, a lot of times going in, but you might have to do less volume per workout to get to your overall maximum frequency load. Because if you do 8 sets of quads every lower day, man, you're going to be exhausted. You're not going to be able to recover that, depending on how hard you're going. But you get the idea there. I think it's a pretty simple concept. The conclusion is find a frequency that works for you, where you feel like you've just recovered by your next leg day, that you can go hard again. If you've reached your next leg day and you're still just totally annihilated, you're either doing too much or your recovery sucks. One or the other are very possible, but most of the time, I would guess that it might be the recovery, as in your sleep, that's to blame. Not to say that I'm the best with sleep. This is something we need to work on this year. But yeah, again, find a frequency that works for you. Even if you're only lifting 4 times a week, you're getting more rest days. That means you can have harder workouts. If you're going more frequently, your workouts don't have to be as intense every single time. So, there you go. But, anyways, plan for tomorrow, back and biceps. Although I think I might lay off on one of the bicep sets. I might just do one thing for biceps, and then we'll do triceps with them, and then we're just gonna like throw in adductors at the end. I mean, they're so easy to do, and I already maxed out the machine anyways. So yeah. Anyways, I think that's enough yapping for today. We'll do some good tennis in the evening, get our cardio in, and of course, cardio is happening tomorrow as well. Very excited for the things to come. This is gonna be a good year. Anyways, everyone, thank you for watching up to this point. If you have any questions, anything you want me to like address more specifically regarding the stuff I talked about in this video, or if it's something irrelevant and unrelated, not irrelevant, unrelated, then feel free to ask as well, and I would be happy to address it, whether it's in like a shorter video or just one of the regular ones. Thanks, guys. Please subscribe, support me, follow the socials, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.